Hi guys, let's make my favorite drink together, which is Zobo. The first thing I did is to place my pot on fire. Then I went ahead to put in my pineapple peel, which is very important in making Zobo. And then the next thing I did is to put in my sliced cucumber. If you don't want, you can skip it, but I like sliced cucumber in my Zobo. And then the next thing I did is to introduce my Zobo leaf. I'd already washed this Zobo leaf, so the next thing I did is to pour it into the pot. The next thing I added into my pot is my ginger. I had already crushed this ginger, but if you want, you can blend it to get more flavor, more of the ginger flavor in your drinks. But if you don't want, you can pass it. Then I went ahead to add some cloves into my pot. But if you want, you can add dry pepper. I didn't have dry pepper, so dry chili pepper. If you have, you can add it. So the next thing I did is to pour in my water and make sure I filled up my water depending on the quantity you're making. Mine requires that I fill up the pot, so I did that. The next thing I'm going to do is to cover this pot and allow my zobo to cook very well. So I forgot to add one of the ingredients, which is lemongrass. So I went ahead, I opened my pot, press it down in to allow it to cook very well, and then put my lemongrass and cover the pot and allow it to cook very well. But if you don't like lemongrass, you can skip it. But lemongrass makes all the difference. Try it and thank me later. So after about an hour, I came in to check on my zobo and it's boiling nicely, and then cover it and allow it to cook more because it's not yet done at this point. So this is me the next morning after my zobo had cooked and had cooled down. I'm here to check on my zobo for me to sieve it out. Look at how nicely it is. Look at everything has even melted. You can tell that this zobo is going to be very nice, very, very rich. So after turning it, I would then proceed to sieve it out, remove the chaff and sieve it. So I moved my Zobo to the countertop and here I'm about to squeeze it out. Before I put it into the sack, the first thing I like to do is to remove the chunk of the pineapple so that I'll be able to squeeze out my juice. If you like, you can put it straight into your sieve, but it's going to be a whole lot of work. So I try to reduce my chaff before proceeding to pour it into my sieve. But if you like, you can skip this process. So I'd already bring out the chunk of the pineapple, and here I'm putting pineapple pulp. I made pineapple juice, so I'm using the pulp. If you have it, add it into your zobo. It's going to make all the difference. Like I said, this zobo is going to be rich. So I then proceeded to mix my shelf from my pineapple juice. Make sure everything incorporates very well, and then went ahead to pour in my zobo into the sieve for proper sieving. I'm going to squeeze out everything from this. Make sure that there's no liquid coming out from it. Here, I was done sieving my Zobo. The next thing I did is to add my pineapple juice. I made this pineapple juice earlier in the morning, so I proceeded to add it into my Zobo. But if you don't have pineapple juice, you can add this store-bought flavor to your Zobo. It makes all the difference. But if you don't like it, you can skip it. So that's all I added to my Zobo. I didn't add any sugar because we do not like sugar in our Zobo in this house. So that's it. But if you like sugar, you can do that. I went ahead to then put them into the bottles for proper storage. At this point, I'm done putting my Zobo into the container and I'll go straight ahead to clean my workstation, all the places that it has dropped. I will then rinse the back of the Zobo in the bottles so that I'll store them properly in the fridge, and that's all. It's easy peasy. Thanks for watching. Do like, share, and comment. Bye.